time to armor up and level out. Listen up and hear what we're about.
Welcome back, Armor Nation. Josh here with Jeremiah. Jeremiah, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Jeremiah and I love movies. We have an affinity for action movies, 80's movies, movies that will motivate you to train. So we wanted to sit down and start chatting about our top 3 workout scenes in 80's movies.
Yep.
So first off, before we get into this, that's hard, dude.
It was really hard. Yeah, like when I sat down to try and make a list, I was like, this is way harder than I thought it was going to be.
It's hard to find if you will framework it to where it's a workout scene specifically.
Right.
That's a challenge. What do you consider a workout? That's a challenge. Is it armor workout where we actually have like things and stuff? Then take it all the way back to the 80's and a workout looks very different.
It does.
Than what it does today, because that was like, we're not even going to say how long ago that was. And then if you get into some of the specifics of how many amazing 80's movies revolved around the training montage specifically, there might be a couple obvious ones. You were kind enough to let me pick some of the, we'll say the fundamental ones.
Right.
And you kind of colored outside of the lines thinking through that, so that's awesome.
I tried.
But there were so many that was left on the cutting room floor.
I know, yes.
We'll kind of talk about that as we go.
Yeah,
but
like I said, it was hard to pick.
Right. And then it can kind of dovetail into some other conversations. But as it stands, if you needed some training motivation, this may be your list.
I feel like this should do it.
Cue it up. Let's go. Let's see what we start with.
All right.
Okay, so we're going to start with my number 1 pick, Rocky IV. Obviously, that's got to be
that
right
has
up
to
at the
be
top.
number 1.
I mean, I think it's
nothing,
everybody's top.
Nothing's going to beat this one.
Of all of the Rockies, favorite Rocky movie?
The first one's always going to be my favorite, I think. But Rocky IV.
Is that a Rocky movie? I mean,
they're so different.
They're so different. Like, the first one's a love movie.
Rocky versus Rocky IV.
Completely
not the
different.
same genre.
No, not even close. But this thing, I mean, so first off, when I watched this, it was years after it had come out. I wasn't old enough to know what was going on. So it's many years after this had come out the first time that I saw this. And immediately run to start doing whatever I could do off of what Rocky did.
Right. Yes.
So it's like the stuff on the speed bag didn't have any of that, but the dragons that he does, I call them dragons, the inverted sit-up.
Yep. Yeah, I remember when I first watched that. That's exactly what I did. The inverted sit-ups. I was like, I forgot how to do that.
And then I remember 20 years later starting to coach athletes, showing that and being like, yeah, totally Sylvester Stallone.
Right.
Now, off of that, Sylvester Stallone, I'm going to put right up there with probably, there it is. There's the dragon. There's the dragon. Too good. I'm going to put him right up there with just the top action star. And, I'm going to almost give him number 1.
Yeah, it's always hard for me to pick between Arnold and Sylvester, but I feel like Sylvester has more movies that I like than Arnold does.
Yes, I would agree. And then with Drago, so if you're talking about this guy, he's, if I remember correctly, a professor?
Something like that.
Right? I mean, he has several degrees at least, speaks several languages, super astute guy. And then if you read all the background of this movie, they're really hitting each other. They both end up in the hospital, but Sylvester Stallone took the brunt of it and was legit in there.
Break some ribs or something when Dolph punched him.
Oh, and then we got steroids. I mean,
that's right.
I mean, what movie could you have without the steroid use, right? I mean, that's fantastic. That was probably fake weight because that was like a 400-pound. And it's a clean and press. It's not even a jerk. So, yeah, that's probably, I don't know. How much faith do we have in Dolph and the drugs? Either way, I still love this
Still
part.
looks cool.
Yeah, it's totally, it's one of the best to watch. Oh, he's going to do it for the crowd. She was in Cobra.
That's true. Yep.
And didn't they ended up getting married after that at some point in time? A Cobra, another amazing Sylvester Stallone movie. But so we'll go on to the next one. I think that Rocky IV, indispensable, and I would say that is my absolute, hands down, number 1 workout scene of the 80s specifically.
No contest.
Too good.
No contest. All right.
What are we going with? Ooh. no list is complete without Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Nope.
Bloodsport. So, gosh, I don't even remember the first Van Damme movie I saw, but I know that every single one of them I watched when I was younger, I probably watched at least 30 times. And that is no exaggeration whatsoever.
Bloodsport was my first.
Bloodsport was your first?
Yep.
This one's my second. So if my first pick was Rocky IV, this one would be my second pick. I think it is a really cool movie that sets up Van Damme for future success.
Yep.
And he took a very different vein to me than what Sylvester Stallone did. Sylvester Stallone and Arnold, they had their specific place. He got a little bit more of his certain fighting style in there.
Right.
He was from, where was he from? Where's he from? Is it?
Oh shoot, I should know.
Belgium?
Muscles from Brussels.
Okay, there you go. Okay, cool. So what you got here is just a ton of different fun stuff with obviously your Grandmaster, your sort of monk-ish. You have the fancy, you have a little bit of meditation. One of the movies that I had wanted to pick was in 1990, so we'll save that for another time about meditation. But this was cool. I remember doing all of these things afterwards because this was all stuff you could do without having to have workout equipment and not know anything about anything. This is your first one, but is this your favorite Van Damme movie?
Yep.
Really?
It
this
is.
one's, really?
Yep. First one I ever watched, and it's still my favorite.
Okay. This one again.
I think half the reason I love this movie so much is because I just love the soundtrack. I've listened, this is just my workout sound. I've listened to the soundtrack 1,000 times while working out.
Is that, so this soundtrack, and what's another good soundtrack if you're going to listen to while working out?
It's Rocky IV, Bloodsport, Kickboxer, definitely.
Yeah.
Over the Top has some good songs. But I think Rocky IV and Bloodsport.
Okay.
Those are my two go-tos that just never leave my playlist.
Now I love the part with I'm going to walk around blindfolded and serve you tea. I forget what the name of tea making is, but specifically Eastern culture has a specific way that you make the tea. I'd have to Google this to remember it. Oh, I'm so enamored by it. I forgot about how cool this part was. So I tried to make this list without rewatching any of these. I really wanted to think about it and let it come to mind.
Right.
So that, it just doesn't get any better than that. Well, cool. So my second would be Bloodsport. Let's move on.
I hope this one works. It was hard to pick one from Over the Top because it's like, actually, I think I might. I'll just get your opinion before we do this. I was conflicted between doing the last scene where he arm wrestles the final guy, or if I should do like where it shows clips from all the matches. You know what I mean?
I'd probably do the clip one.
Okay. From all of them, you mean?
You mean from
or the end?
The end, yeah.
Okay, because I was like this one. It like goes through like the whole.
Oh, okay.
Contest.
I would probably just do the end then.
Cool.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Let's go back.
What is this one?
So this is Over the Top. This is probably the first movie I ever watched that made me want to work out, because this was like clean enough that I could watch it when I was really little. So, my grandparents showed this to me.
Did that guy have like boots on? What was it? I don't understand. Okay, tell me about your grandparents showing this to you.
There's a scene in this that's not actually in this clip where Sylvester Stallone takes his son and they like work out on the semi truck where they like do like pull-ups, and push-ups and stuff. And I saw that and I'm like, okay, I can do that because I don't have any access to any weights.
Yep, I remember that.
But I can go do push-ups. We had bunk bed at the time, me and my brother, so we would like work out on that. Like he worked out on the semi truck. So this is like core memory for me.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And everyone's jacked in this, and I want to look like that.
This guy who's, I don't even remember, this big dude with the mustache. This guy's
very
great.
Scary.
So I'm gonna go with this one. I really liked the parts with Sylvester Stallone.
Yep.
But this movie made me really detest child actors.
See, yes.
Hated it.
Having rewatched this as an adult,
that
that kid is hard to get over. Yes.
I feel, but whoever your name is, I'm sorry, but like I get it that you have director telling you what to do and how to be, but man, the kid in this movie was the worst. And I remember thinking that when I watched it, I'm like, this kid's dad is Sylvester Stallone, and he's taking you around arm wrestling.
Yes.
How do you not love life? Like, it just didn't make any sense to me. And then I get it, like, your dad's a trucker and maybe you're mad at him, like daddy issue kind of stuff. But, I mean, it's too cool to be mad all the time, and this kid drove me nuts.
Yep.
So this one was actually, I watched it and loved the Sylvester Stallone and then didn't watch it after that.
That's fair.
Didn't watch it after that.
That is
but
fair.
I do love the workout part that you're talking about, and mainly because it was like roadside.
Right.
Let's do the work.
Yep.
Well, cool. Let's go to the next one. Over the top. What you got next?
What about Highlander next?
Oh, what's his name? McLeod. What's his first name?
Connor
McLeod, with Sean Connery as the wise mentor, the monk.
I don't know where it actually starts with the training sequence on this. I guess it starts with the training. This is another one with a good soundtrack, in my opinion.
100%.
Like, this works for me.
100%. And I tell you what. Well, first off, the mentor, the wise educator. It's hard to beat Sean Connery, man. Like that was a wise choice for a movie that I do believe got really bad reviews.
I think
when
it
it
did.
came out,
Yep.
I mean, this was obviously I couldn't really remember this when it came out. I had to watch it many years later, but I think it got horrible reviews. And then today it is one of the. So here's an interesting thing for you. It's similar to where you're at with it. Like when I watched this, it became one of those kind of foundational movies. But I forced my wife to watch this recently. So I have a rewatch on this that's within a year. And I do remember the soundtrack, and I remember saying, like, this soundtrack is amazing.
Right.
Because of how it had that sort of bad, it's so bad it's good.
Right.
Or so dated,
yes,
it's good kind of thing.
Yep.
And if I remember right, this Christopher Lambert is the main dude.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure he's blind. He's like legally blind.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't
I'm
know
almost
that.
positive. I don't know if it like came on later, but I do remember article after article of reading about this that he really, I think he's legally blind. Like he can't drive, can't see in front of him, kind of stuff. I could be totally wrong, but the narrative overlay of the teacher telling you how to do stuff while you're doing like footwork around some, I'm assuming this is Scotland.
Right.
Amazing. Good choice.
Thank you.
Good choice. I would definitely say Highlander, good choice. The second movie,
See, I never watched. I never watched.
it goes like second, third, fourth.
I never
think.
watched any of the ones after that because I heard a quote once where it was in a TV show where they watched the first Highlander, and it was two friends, and the two friends love it, and the one friend had seen all of them and one hadn't. So they get done with the first one, and they get ready to put the second one in, and the guy who's seen them all before goes, "Prepare to be massively disappointed."
I would say that's the truth.
And I was like, okay, I'll just not watch it.
I would say that is definitely the truth. I know that this one, unrivaled, but I would say it's similar to where you have Batman, that the reason Batman is amazing is because the villains are amazing.
Right.
I did love the villain.
Yes, he's so good.
Like I always forget that guy's name. But he's amazing in everything. All right, let's move on.
All right.
So this one is my third, and I don't know if it's a third. It might be second. It even rivals Rocky. It's just that good. This is Kickboxer 1989. Again, it's really weak sauce to pick another Van Damme movie, but it's too good to not bring up.
Yep.
I love the teacher. I love his just mannerisms, like right here, even he's not talking, he's just head nodding. Like that's a coach.
Yep, that's very cool.
And if you watch some weightlifting, like some real weightlifting, snatch, clean, jerk on a platform, you'll see some coaches, and you'll see this in diving and everywhere where there's one person on the platform. You'll see these signals, which are they don't talk. There's hand signals. There's just looks that you have with your coach. This thing is amazing when he's kicking the tree, because most people don't kick trees. And I don't think they show it in this one, but Tong Po, his opponent, kicks the pillar. Like the steel pillar in the building, whereas like Van Damme's just kicking a bamboo tree.
Right.
Now, okay, full disclosure, I did kickbox for a couple of years.
Really?
And we didn't kick trees. We did kick each other. So one of the things we did in kickboxing is we would actually put like shin guards on, and we would kick each other in the shins for like a long time.
Ow.
And and the whole goal of that was just to kind of deaden this, the nerves or so forth. This is where it gets a little crazy. If this doesn't motivate you to train.
Yep, I don't know what will.
If you've never seen Kickboxer, I mean, you have to watch it from start to finish.
It's so good, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it for you, even though it's like 700 years old, so we'll keep some of the spoilers out. But Van Damme, this training sequence, the one where he starts dropping I think it's like coconuts or something, right?
Yep, right?
Dropping the coconuts for the abs.
Yeah.
I think I did that the next day. I was like, how can we make this happen without having coconuts?
So did you get into kickboxing because of this movie?
100%.
Okay, yeah.
100%. And the funny thing was, there was no such thing as kickboxing around where we lived. So I had to wait until I'd seen this movie, however many years prior. I had to wait until I was 18 and could drive myself several towns over to go to the only kickboxing school to be able to take it. Then here's the other thing.
That's dedication.
Well, I realized I wasn't very good because I would walk around with like a face that was just constantly swollen. So after 2 years of just getting beaten up all the time, standing there and taking punches, I was like, kickboxing is not for me. I should stay with the workout portion of it. So that being said, this part I could never do. Never been able to do the straddles.
I respect Van Damme for being able to do that, but that's not something I ever looked at and thought, I want to do that.
I did. I used to do this all the time. I would sit there and try to constantly get into. So if you define it as splits, being forward, and then frontal plane being straddles, I was never able to do the straddles like I could do the splits. But I think that is a lot of inherent sort of activity. I just kind of could do it from the beginning.
Fair enough.
We can move on, but man, I could watch this all day.
Yeah, kickboxer freaking rules.
Unreal fight scene at the end of it.
The end is just fantastic.
With the rap and never so creative.
It is.
So creative.
And it's very satisfying.
100%.
The whole end scene is
100%.
very emotional. It's like unexpectedly emotional.
Yeah,
at the
you're
end.
right. You're right. You're 100%.
Like I remember the first time I watched that, I'm like, oh, this is like getting really deep all of a sudden.
Or him getting drunk, when he takes him to get him drunk and see if he can still beat the guys in the bar.
Yep, that dance scene is classic. That probably should have been in here. Change my mind. I'm going to do this. This is better than Karate Kid. And it's not even a training montage.
All right, so what do we got?
So when I think about a scene, especially from when I was a kid, that like made me want to work out and be big and strong, like this is it.
The one and only Commando.
And it's not even, like I said, this is probably not even a training scene, but
I'm gonna have to take it though. I mean,
this is great music too.
Oh. So I'll give you some.
Like that scene right there is just. I mean, it's got to be one of the manliest scenes of like all time.
It's funny you should say that. So I'll give you a little. I don't think we got to talk about this. So my dad this was years after this came out, but my dad sat me down in front of this. This was my first action movie that I can ever remember watching.
Okay, yep.
And he said specifically, "That's what a man does." And after that, this one movie right here is what made me want to be a coach and made me want to start working out.
Really?
And automatically gave me just this immediate knowledge of, I know that most people don't look like that. So there's and I was super young, so I didn't know that, I didn't have the leap to be able to make like, oh, you have to put all this time in, but I knew something wasn't the same.
Right.
Like you could recognize that.
Yep.
And then as I got older, I'm like, oh, so this takes a lot of time to become what a man needs to
Right.
look like kind
Yes,
of thing.
yes.
Take away all the today stuff that goes around that. But I said, okay, I'm going to have to put all this time in. And then on my 18th birthday, I bought a membership to a gym and have not missed training since then. I'm not
Nice.
saying that as a bragging thing,
Right.
but I'm saying that like my dad sat me down and said like, this is what you should strive to be.
Yep.
You should be able to carry a log and a chainsaw all at one time and look like that guy.
Right.
And that was the start. When did you? Do you remember when you first saw that? Do you remember what year-ish about it was?
Man, the first action movie I ever watched that my dad let me watch, I was probably like 12, I think, was First Blood. And then
wow.
it was not too long after that we did Commando. So yeah.
Wow. First Blood. So we talked about this a little bit. Is First Blood an action movie?
I don't think it really is an action movie.
I wouldn't think so.
Nope.
No. What would you put that in a genre of?
I'd say like drama thriller.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Hard
Hard
like
movie
a
to
little
watch.
bit of horror aspects to it too.
Yeah.
I think, especially in the beginning, like when they're going through the forest and stuff. Like
When he's like getting people.
pretty creepy.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's 100%.
Very dark.
And it's hard to watch.
It
That's
is.
one that's like you. I don't think you just like. I could play Commando on repeat for the rest of my life
Definitely,
and
yes.
be happy.
Yep.
I would not be happy if I was watching Rambo.
No,
First Blood.
yeah, it's definitely, it's a little bit of a hard watch.
Yeah. So we'll have linked we'll actually have replaying this, all of the picks that we had.
Yep.
And if you need any sort of motivation for your training, this might just be it.
Yep.
Jeremiah, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.